All right, going to do a little update on Fuse. You can get to the project here on GitHub. It is pinned to the top of my Twitter profile. And what we've done today is, or yesterday and today, is added support for OpenAI. So currently support these three providers, and not all the models, but adding models is pretty easy. So this is the config file with the fake keys in it. So I've got a key for Together, for Anthropic, and for OpenAI. You do need, I think with Anthropic, I think I get a $25 credit with Together. I think I get $5 with Anthropic. And then I get, I don't remember what I got with OpenAI, but I basically have a credit card and I charged it up with $10. And that's all it'll use, and then the API calls will fail. But what you'll do is you'll copy this file and create a file called .secret, which is ignored from GitHub, and you'll install that. When you look at the install Fuse, you can see we actually install the secret file and not the blank file. Everything here is in development, so stuff's going to get wiped out, changed. We're trying to, I'm going to be making a lot of improvements. If you come into the schema here, you can kind of see what models. The models go into a table. Just look at some of the schema here. So we have a Fuse provider. This was AI provider, but now I've changed it to Fuse provider just because we get really tired of saying the word AI. So these are the providers, and then you can see I'm inserting a value for each provider. Now, right now, this is all going to change because I know that I'm going to need different API paths for different types of models on some of these. And right now, we're just kind of getting it stubbed out. But this is where you can see it is storing your key in that table. And I'm not sure I want to continue doing that. Probably not. Probably going to get rid of that. In fact, that might be what I work on next. But we're probably just going to store it. We don't want this key stored in multiple locations. We're going to store it in one location. The disadvantage there is it gets hard to, thinking about that, it gets hard to use multiple keys if you have different users and you want them to use different keys. By storing it in the provider table, we're probably going to need a keys table. But that's down the road. We're not going to worry about that. Let's just go ahead and simplify. Simplify is always better. We can always put it back easier later. So I'll probably get rid of keeping the key in here, and we're just going to keep it in our secret file and refer to it that way. So anyway, that's our providers, and then we have this provider model table in which we're inserting these models using this procedure, and these are the models. So these are the Together.ai models that I've got set up, and there's a lot more of them. I'm just kind of no need to add them all right now, and they're pretty easy to add later. These are the Anthropic models, and then I've just added one entry for the OpenAI model. And this is the JSON mode thing, if you know about that. I haven't done too much testing, but I'm not sure I'm going to keep much of that for now. We'll see. I guess we'll keep it, but I'm not really doing much with it. So I'm going to be building out examples. I've updated the README here, and you can see, here's an example of how easy it is to use. Basically, we create a session, we give the session a name, and then we call system and user, and there are other calls like mock, where you can mock a user call without actually calling the API, and then you can actually stub out the response. Let me see if I can remember what I called those. So this allows you to build, I forgot what it's called. It's called like, there's a name for it. And I should remember it. So we have system, mock, user. I think, mock's a user. But how do we, we can call assistant directly. Assistant doesn't make a call, so it just logs it. So basically you can, if you want to like create a fake chat history, like you're kind of priming the pump for your answers, you would call, mock and assistant, and that's like user and assistant, and then you'd make a real user call, and it will feed that history in the as though the AI kind of did that, and it should influence its behavior so you get the response that you want. You're more likely to get the response you want. And then we've got this exclude flag. So once, like when you're building a script, you can prime the pump, and then you can then start calling stuff and excluding it from that chat history, the completion history that you keep feeding back. And that keeps it under a certain size limit. And so this is one way to deal with that is if you're going to just be asking, do this again, do this again, do this again, you don't need all those in your chat history. So those in your script you would be excluding once you've done that. So essentially what we're making is like a really cool scripting engine. It's going to have a lot of features. And if you look in here, this comes within a greater kind of toolkit that I have that has SQL monitoring, sensors, alerting, and stuff like that. So we can kind of integrate some of those tools into this in order to monitor the AI interface itself and stuff. There's ways to build scheduled jobs and all this kind of cool stuff. So, and it isn't all that complicated, really. This is probably the simplest version of my tool set that I've ever built, and I feel like it's easily grokkable and greppable, whatever you want to say, within a few hours of studying it, and eventually I might have documentation. So all right, so that's what we've done, and I do have this unit test.sql, and it's basically manual at this point, but for example, like this basically runs through all of the models if you want, and just makes a basic call just to see if they work. You could change this to be just Anthropic models or whatever, but it just gives you a quick way of testing just to see if the models are actually working, your API calls are working, and I'll be adding a lot of other tests and examples and things like that. I have a lot of ideas, but the main thing I want to do right now is just kind of build a really good interface for multiple providers. I have a lot of ideas how I would integrate this in with Oracle, with doing things to data, with monitoring, alerting, and all kinds of things. Got lots and lots of ideas. But the core thing here is to support multiple providers like Together, Anthropic, OpenAI, and others. I'm going to be adding, and then have examples of how to solve problems using those providers and just do things. So lots of examples. So that should make it very easy for you to implement your ideas and solutions. So that's where we are. I'm going to do a little bit more work today on it, and then we'll catch you next week. Thanks for watching.